Ever since Nazuka banner drop, I keep seeing the same question about which Nazuka team is actually better. Is it Nanoha or Canace? The short answer is Nanoha has a higher ceiling, but it is not simple as you might think. For a lot of players, Canace is still the better choice, and today I want to explain why. The first issue with Nanoha is that most players cannot fully squeeze out Nanoha's damage, even if she is well built. The biggest reason is her quirk, specifically how this 10 player works. Because if you want to get the full skill bonus damage, which is about 350% at level 6, you need to keep enough distance from the boss. This doesn't sound hard at first, but it becomes a problem when there are multiple enemies, because Nanoha can end up targeting random mobs instead of the boss. And on top of that, Nanoha's skills can be partially or even fully cancelled if you dodge or activate your ultimate at wrong timing. And some of you probably don't even realize it's happening. So the core problem with Nanoha is consistency. If your positioning or timing is slightly off, you lose a lot of damage. That is why if you ask me whether you should stick with your Nanoha just because she is properly built, it is still hard to answer, because I've seen many players still struggle with her. And if this already sounds too hard to deal with, then stick with your Canace. She is much more consistent. But if you are comfortable with Nanoha gameplay, then let's move on to the second issue. The second issue is how to distribute potentials between Nanoha and Nazuka. Based on so many runs so far, with the current buff in Boss Blitz, the damage ratio is roughly 1 to 3 between Nanoha and Nazuka. And without the buff, it is closer to 1 to 2. For this BB, Nazuka is clearly the hyper carry here. The real question is, what should we do outside of this BB? Should we put most of potentials on Nazuka? Or should we try to have some balance between these two characters? Right now, in my own testing, different setups usually land between 120k and 130k, which is honestly isn't a big gap. That said, I did find slightly better results when I put more potentials on Nazuka, similar to Canace's version, but with a little more focus on team buff like Almighty Leader, even if that meant sacrificing some of her personal damage. The last issue is Blossom Shower. First, a quick clarification. The in-game translation used to be wrong, but it was finally fixed in this update. Blossom Shower actually scales with skill damage, not ultimate damage. On paper, especially if you look at Meki calculations, Blossom Shower should be taken. But in the actual gameplay, I got similar scores with or without it. The main problem is that Blossom Shower is hard to use consistently. If you cannot land the skill twice in one ultimate, or even if you land that but you miss the buff from Nazuka or Anne, or there are multiple enemies and her clones target auto mobs, you lose a big chunk of damage. And because of that, I personally find Blossom Shower clunky and hard to maximize, so I prefer using this build. To sum everything up, if your Nanoha gameplay isn't consistent, then Canace is the safer pick. For potential distribution, it is similar to Canace's version, but with slightly more focus on team buff, and personally, I skip Blossom Shower. At the end of the day, pick the setup that feels the most comfortable to you. If you had different results or experiences, feel free to leave a comment. I would love to hear them. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.
爽やかな朝の風、気持ちいいわね。